This is the third part of a podcast about the relationship between Mahatma Gandhi and Edward Bulwer Lytton, who was at one time perhaps the best known English writer, even better known than and more influential than Dickens or anybody else. And I've not done a very good job of these videos because I sort of go off on a tangent. And the point I'd make, let me now say it very quickly, is that Lytton is ambiguous in his account of how people who have achieved some higher supernatural, esoteric stature. He's ambiguous as to how they affect those who wish to follow them. It's not really clear that they're on the side of the angels. And I think this element of ambiguity, and it does have there's a sexual undercurrent to it. Just as there's a sexual, indeed a bisexual undercurrent to elements in Balzac, to Malfatti. Malfatti was he was a doctor. In fact, he was Beethoven's doctor. He was the doctor to some royals. And like many doctors at the time, he poisoned his patients by giving them arsenic or whatever was modish at the time. But Malfatti, of course, is also important because he wrote a book called The Mystical Organon of the Hindus, which is based on some notion of the ideal state as being hermaphrodite, and you find that in Balzac. And you find something different. That's French, that's very French. But in Bulwer Lytton, these are the same ideas that you have coming out of German nature philosophy, as it was called. These are mystical ideas, Rosicrucian ideas. But in Bulwer Lytton, you see, they have quite a virile, but morally very ambiguous expression. And in Israeli, it was a great pal of Bulwer Lytton. This reappears in a racialist form, in an imperialist form. But Disraeli, was a practical man, and he really did want to climb the grassy pole. Whereas Bulwer Lytton, it's not clear that that's what he really wanted. It's not, you've had numberless writers who, they use their pen to advance themselves, but they're not really concerned with literature. Lytton was unusual. His son became a viceroy, but I didn't really see. But there is something odd about him. And the concepts that he developed, which of course pass into theosophy, and they come back to India with the Theosophical Society, was very important. Annie Besant became the president of the Indian Home Rule League, and so there is this very important aspect to many of the concepts of Bulwer Lytton, and the manner in which, firstly, it was actually the Russians. It was Pushkin. One of his last projects was to write Bulwer Lytton's Pelham, to make a Russian Pelham. So, that's Pushkin. That's, along with after Eugene Onegin, they would have been the Russian equivalent of Pelham. So, and these things exist in Tolstoy. They certainly exist in German. There's a German esoteric tradition which wished to acknowledge Lytoon as its founder. They said, "Stay away from me, you stupid crabs." And but Manilal Dwivedi, Gandhi's Sanskrit professor, and this is a guy whose poetry, Mahatma Gandhi had put in his little newspaper. But, if he read Gujarati, he read Manilal Dwivedi because there wasn't a lot else to read. And of course, Manilal Dwivedi's sort of autobiography, Gandhi's autobiography is the second or the third autobiography in the Gujarati language, and he's actually a student at Samardas College of Manilal Dwivedi. But the point I make about Manilal Dwivedi is that he had picked upon, he wanted to write a supernatural sort of a story. And in those days, you picked an English or a continental model, and then you adapted it. And he picks on Edward Bulwer Lytton's Zanoni, which becomes Gulab Singh. So okay, and it's still around. These are things where you really need to talk to actual real life Gujarati guys or ladies. And it's very interesting to see in what manner they receive it. And of course, being Gujarati, they actually receive it in a very intelligent, very useful manner, because they're good people. Gujarat is a wonderful. But it is true that some Gujaratis really want to have sex and really don't care which orifice they put it in, whether it's male, female, or whatever. And you do meet these guys, and you've got to really keep them at a distance, because STDs are real. STD is a real thing. And Gandhi, to his credit, he did keep these things at a distance. But he bought into the two very worst things that you have in Bulwer Lytton and in Manilal Dwivedi's version of it. The first is the notion that there can be what is called political friendship, that can be Socratic friendship, there can be a type of affection between people, a fraternity between people, which has a political aspect, but that this could be on the basis of a mesmerism, a hypnotism, a domination by the superior, the Mahatma or Zanoni. No, that's stupid. That's wrong. And that is shit. And that's why the British people have recoiled against this fucking cunt, Edward Bulwer Lytton. Nobody reads him. It's not that he's, people say, oh, there's some fucking academic who says, oh, his English was bad. His English wasn't bad. His English is okay. They're wrong, because they're fucking academics. They don't know shit about the English language. And, but we recoil from that. It's just wrong. It's not true. But Gandhi did not recoil from that. And the very notion of a Mahatma who is not a fucking Mahatma. If you're a Sadhu Mahatma, that means you don't have a wife. You don't have kids. You're not staying at home. You're not telling them what to do. You have to get the fuck out. You actually got to be a fucking monk. And monks can have zero relation with their family. Now, you can say that, Narendra Modi, वो साधु महात्मा है, Because he's not living with his wife. He's not having sex with her. As Mahatma Gandhi said, he said, look, if you're already married, don't have sex. But there's no reason to go on living together and making her cook for you. And when Maulana Azad turned up, according to Lord Bhikkhu Parekh says that Mahatma Gandhi called Kasturba Gandhi. He said, "Ab dekho kaun aaya? See who has come? It's Maulana Azad. Maulana, cook him mutton curry." She said, "No, I won't. I'm a Hindu. I'm a vegetarian. I belong to this caste. That we do not cook or touch non-veg." He said, "No. You must." Why? Because to refuse to cook mutton curry is himsa. It is violence. Yeah, killing goat and chopping up goat, that's not violence. Refusing to cook goat curry, that is violence. And he used to beat her. It says, he knows. She has told everybody, I used to beat her, I liked beating her, I also liked fucking her, but then I stopped fucking her, but I'd still beat her. But now he is saying, and he also used to say to her, if you don't like it, get out. Go. Get out. Now. So, Kasturba Gandhi, she bleated like a goat. Said, no, this is himself. Then she was well trained. She went off, she cooked mutton curry and she brought for Maulana Azad. I'm not saying this. This is what Lord Bhikkhu Parekh has written. So this is not violence. But what's the truth? The truth is that, compared to what Pushti Marg used to do, where if you are a devotee of Pushti Marg, you take your bloody wife and hand her over to some bloody syphilitic bastard so that he can give her the syphilis. At least this didn't happen with Kasturba Gandhi. There is no allegation. Nobody has ever said that. But there was that allegation with respect to Mahatma Gandhi's father. And that's why he said, I'll never forgive him. 3 times you've had bloody wives who've been fucked by the syphilitic bastard, and then you marry a 4th. You don't have to marry anybody. Just go to a fucking brothel like everybody else, you piece of shit. You see, when you when you marry, what you're doing is that you're affecting the children. You have sex with your wife, there will be a baby. And the baby, that boy will grow up to be a son and he will say to you, why did you send my mum to sleep with that worthless piece of shit? Did God say this? God is against such a disgusting and worthless type of behavior. But you're not supposed to beat and kill your father. And what can you do? Your mother, she's already suffered it. What can you do? Mahatma Gandhi had human feelings. He's a good man. And if he had gone with Arya Samaj, because Pushti Marg was there, and then Arya Samaj was here. But he did not go with one, he did not go with the other. Good he didn't go with that bloody nonsense of idea that God will put some Pushti Marg guy there who will get you into the bloody heaven and who will fuck your wife and get her into... fuck that. That's not Hinduism. Or any other religion or anything. It's just disgusting. Arya Samaj has lasted. And, when one thing Gandhi did was that when his drunkard son He converted to Islam. But he wanted to convert back because his mother was suffering. So then Arya Samaj, because nobody else, other people, which Pandit would stick their neck out to convert a Muslim back to Hinduism? Who would do that? I wouldn't. Arey bhai, go fatwa somebody else, not me. But Arya Samaj came in and they did that. So, and that was really for the mother. So he was not a completely bad person. In fact, not a really bad person. He was just stupid and worthless, piece of shit type person. Same as you, same as me. But we're not bad. We're stupid, worthless, and a piece of shit. That's why we follow this Mahatma or that Mahatma or this QAnon, that QAnon. Yeah, it's nonsense. But at least we don't really believe in vril or supernatural power or mesmerism, or that some people who look like humans have superior Chaldean knowledge and esoteric knowledge and magical powers. We don't believe that. We're just stupid. We're shit. And, we talk nonsense. But that's as far as it goes. That's it. So, what was the ultimate impact of Edward Bulwer Lytton's nature philosophy or esoteric philosophy? What was the ultimate impact on India? And the answer is some guys got syphilis. Sad. Other guys got Gandhian shite and the stupid shit. But this was inevitable. If you look at Dr. Pranjivan Mehta, who, after all, very smart, he was a scholarship winner, he was Jain, he was a scholarship winner and was qualified as a doctor in India, then he got a scholarship to study medicine in the UK, and he qualified as a barrister as well. Pranjivan Mehta, that's where he met Gandhi. And Raichand Bhai Mehta, there you can look on the internet, you can read what Raichand Bhai Mehta, what he has written. It's perfect. Yeah, okay. That's a genius. But Pranjivan Mehta was probably the stupidest intelligent doctor of the time. He made a lot of money, but he made the money in gem trading and so on. Because he rejected germ theory of infection, and then in Burma, basically he's the guy who ensures that all the Indians there would be chased out without one penny of compensation. So well done. How smart you are. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Bloody crazy bastard. No, I'm joking. He was a worthless piece of shit. In his political capacity, because, he's as stupid as a shit. But you have to admit that at least he didn't have syphilis. And he didn't fuck everybody and give them syphilis. So, Pranjivan Mehta. No, but look at Raichand Bhai Mehta, look at Srimad Rajchandra. He also made money, but he stayed at home and he wrote something which is invaluable. You can see it on the internet. It can be it has been translated to English, it can be translated to any language. It is worth gold in any culture, and because it's the same beautiful message instead of bloody nonsense and paranoid. Ooh, vaccines are bad. Ooh, quarantine. Oh, no, quarantine is very bad. There's some stupid Gandhian doctor I used to respect him, and he used to get a lot of money. He's saying, no, no, it's all COVID. Worthless. And he went to a Gandhian basic education, or Nai Talim school. Of course, he didn't stay there long. That's why he's a doctor. So this worthless cunt, turns out to be a worthless cunt because, being a Gandhian involves being a liar. It's really something like Bulwer Lytoon's elitism, and it's shit. It is cuntish, and fuck it, because it'll make your it'll give you syphilis of the fucking mental linger, and your dick will fall off, and your nose will fall off. And like Manilal Dwivedi, the reason, he already, his fucking nose was falling off, he could hardly speak. But then, syphilis is such a cruel illness that you can revive for a bit so that you can infect more. And that's why Manilal Dwivedi was able to teach for a little while. The cretin Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you.